You're watching Lansdowne Roar, your home for Irish football, news and nostalgia. And on this episode, Kelleher, I've completely messed this one up. Sorry, chaps. I thought we were on a state of play, but we're not. On this episode, world-class Kelleher shines as Idah nets 2. No pyro, no stadium for Bows. And could we have an interim manager for March? All this and more coming up on Lansdowne Roar Live. David Dunn here, sadly, joined by Nick Menzies and Martin Prendergast. I do apologise, guys. It's been a bit, I don't know what happened to me. I had a bit of a Jonathan Hill moment there. Hold on, wait for it. Wait, there you go.
What, have you gone on holiday and demanded to be paid in lieu?
I have, yes.
You're here, you're not on holiday. You're based in
yes.
England. Is that what you mean? There's so many Jonathan Hill.
I have confidence in the Lansdowne Roar board.
Yeah.
I have confidence in the Lansdowne Roar board.
There is a lot of similarities.
Just to reiterate,
you're based
I
in
have
England.
confidence in the Lansdowne Roar board.
What about me, Nick? Have you got confidence in me?
Dave, I have confidence in the Lansdowne Roar board.
That's fair. I wouldn't even have confidence in me.
You're based in England, Dave, so there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, yeah. I just want to travel over to March. That's when I'm going to get my holiday pay. Anyway, David Dunn here, as I said, joined by Martin Prendergast and Nick Menzies. As always, if you like what you hear, love what you see, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Right, chaps, we got all the jocularity out of the way, out of our system. We want to ask, we are Irish football's most interactive podcast. We are the voice of the fans and all those other little bells and baubles you can attach. So we want to ask the question at the top of this podcast. Now we will get to your comments and we will talk about a range of topics to do with Irish football. And we want to hear your opinion from the Raw faithful. We want to hear from you guys. I can barely speak tonight. But the question I want to ask at the top of the podcast is, would you be happy if we had an interim manager for March, if that meant the FAI could get their man? Because let's be honest, that's what it looks like. And breathe. Nick, you're very welcome. We are now a threesome again. It's very beautiful. You are over at KickOn over in, where were you?
I was, I was at KickOn in the convention center last Saturday. And so big shout out to Paul Bean. We had him on the show last week. And obviously we were trying to give a bit of promo to it. It was fantastic. It was partnered with the Dublin the Dublin Card Show. So it was an eclectic mix of people. It was, I was going in expecting to see football jerseys, and it was kind of Pokemon cards, and felt a bit out of place, but it was great. And we great crack there. Really good displays. Shout out to Barry Rojak for showing us around the Irish Sports Museum. Rob from Pell, some great gear there. Just to plug some of Rob's gear, lovely stuff. Great chat with Rob.
Friend of the pod.
Sorry, say again.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod. Be great to have him on. I floated the idea with him. He wasn't impressed at all. He was like, absolutely not. Shout out to Niall as well in Calcio Culture Club. Bought a lovely vintage Australia football jersey, actually. A very random one, but one I was actually after for a while because I do collect my kits. So that was my purchase of the day. And some great people, some great community, actually, Kitsters. And of course, Paul, great shout out to him. He looked stressed to the nines when I saw him, but had a great chat with him. And we're looking forward to more involvements with KickOn going forward. So
hopefully next year.
Fantastic.
Yeah. No, brilliant
Fingers
stuff.
crossed, yeah.
Brilliant stuff. No. Hopefully we'll make it to some stage. Right, we're going to crack on with the Oi Big and your dulcet tones. Give us 2 seconds. Hold on. Wait for it.
New jingle. There we go.
Yeah, there you go, Neary Newick. He's in the comments already there. Hope you're happy. Nick, you're going to read out we're going to read out to our lovely Roar faithful how our boys in green got on over the weekend. Go for it.
I am indeed. And will I talk about the Celtic fans again, or will I?
Probably best not.
Yeah, well, speaking of Celtic fans, so Idah, 2 goals for Celtic in their 3-1 win against Motherwell. 2 brilliant goals, by the way, lads, if you saw them. Yeah. Unbelievable header, really, really good finish laid on to win the game, essentially, for them. So someone who's been who was criticised heavily by the Celtic fans before he'd even kicked the ball, similar to Liam Scales actually. So it's great to see him. Great to see him.
Oh, damn.
Them. Yeah, so great comment or a great kind of tweet there earlier on from Dan McDonnell saying that sections of the Celtic fans will be silently deleting Adam Idah tweets quicker than some of the Liam Scale ones. And I think that is 100% right. Dave, I know that you always agree with Dan McDonnell. So
I love Dan.
Yes.
And most importantly, Nick,
he does not love
loves
you.
me. Yes, he does. I know he does.
You tell yourself that, right? So the next bit there, Will Keane having some season for himself, a goal for Preston North End. They beat Coventry 3-0. Jason Knight, a goal for Bristol City. They lost 2-1 to Sheffield Wednesday, assisted by Taylor Gardner-Hickman, who was eligible for Ireland and then wasn't eligible for Ireland. But anyway, he was involved there. And another stat there from the Preston game against Coventry, Alan Brown assisting in the first minute of the game. Into League One, Promise Amashere scoring a goal for the Fleetwood Crack. And that goal was assisted by Boston Lall. I don't know if you saw that goal, lads, but Ronan Coughlin, so formerly of St. Pat's, formerly of Sligo Rovers as well. Very cheeky attempt to nick the goal on the line. Don't know if you saw that, but it was credited to Promise. So, I mean, typical Pats player, you know, trying to steal the Bohemians' glory. But anyway, and Tyler Goodrum, goal for Oxford United. They lost 2-1 to Leyton Orient. Very, very good player, Tyler Goodrum. And just an interesting one, and a guy who's kind of gone off the radar a little bit. Jordan Shipley, who's an Ireland under-21 cap. He kind of went off the radar a little bit. Sadly, he was with Coventry for years. He's with Shrewsbury Town now. He got a goal and 2 assists. Apparently very, very impressive for them over the weekend for Shrewsbury beating Reading 3-2. And then Conor Harahan, I think we can say former international at this stage, Conor Harahan, who, by the way, is having a very good season for Derby. He got an assist for them. They lost over the weekend. I can't remember against who, but they lost anyway. To Barnsley. Harahan's former club, actually.
Yep, Mix Barnsley. There you go. Slim pickings as always every weekend. I see some of your comments coming in there about the interim manager. Of course, we asked the question, would you be happy with an interim manager for the March friendlies? If it means the FEI get their man, we want to hear from you guys when we get to the comment section. Another bit there, obviously, we didn't quite mention it on the iBig graphic, was, I don't think we did anyway, Caoimhín Kelleher got man of the match. Martin.
He didn't get man of the match.
I believe he did. He got man of the match.
Didn't.
I believe he did get man of the match. I think he did get man of the match.
He didn't get man of the match.
Who got man of the match then?
Virgil got man of the match.
Caoimhín got man of the match.
Didn't.
Well,
they argued about it after, but they didn't argue about it. But they were interviewed together after. But they didn't get man of the match to give it to Virgil, didn't they? The greatest centre back in the Premier League ever, apparently. So we've ruled out a lot of players with that one. But no, I'm going to come across as very anti-Liverpool and very bitter. But look, I'm just going to say I was the one. Let's be fair. I put up the post in the aftermath. I done the screenshot of him lifting the cup as well. I waited. I watched as the manager, you know, indulged himself. It's not about him, but then I watched him lift the cup with the captain Van Dijk, and then the cup went along to Kelleher. I screenshotted that, and
well done.
I put that up for the.
You're still a bitter little man, Prendergast. Martin Prendergast.
The Raw faithful, so they could all see it, and yeah, no, I think fair play to him. Absolutely brilliant game. I actually love the fact that Gary Neville was praising him so highly. And you know, at one stage he said he was immaculate, didn't he? Which you don't often hear an immaculate kind of word in football punditry, do you?
Yeah, it's a big word for Gary Neville.
Yeah.
What's he called?
Fair play. No, I thought he's brilliant, Kelleher. Fantastic. And yeah, I mean, I actually watched a bit of the Monday Night Football tonight, and they were talking about it. And you know, he did call them the billion bottlers or something.
£1 billion blue bottlers,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Blue bottlers. And he's backtracking on that already. So that's quite interesting.
Here's one for you, lad. Here's one for you. I know we don't have a manager, and we probably won't until 2027. But who's your Ireland number one now? Gavin Bazunu playing every week, having an all right season with Southampton. They're in a bit of a blip, or Caoimhín Kelleher, who apparently is world class.
For me, it's Bazunu.
I don't know. I mean, Alisson's out for a while, isn't he? I think he's out for 6 weeks. If Caoimhín Kelleher is playing week in and week out for Liverpool up until the March friendlies, you know, and by the way, I've got the dates here. They're coming up on the 23rd and 26th of March. If he's still playing, it has to be Kelleher, playing at a higher level in one of the best teams in the world. Nay, the best team in the world, Martin.
Oh, dear me. See, this is where we're trying to get listeners to this pod and viewers for the show. And, you know, we were called out early, weren't we, Nick? I think, was that you responded to the Cantona account on Twitter saying the two of the lads actually United
No,
fans?
that was Mr. Dunn. That was Mr. Dunn.
Yeah,
so he didn't realise we had a YouTube channel. And he says he's not going to be in for the... So this is for you.
For the Kelleher loving. Look, fair play to me. In all seriousness, brilliant to see. Like, we want to see our Ireland players playing and winning trophies as well. And
do you not think though that he should be he should be starting for Ireland in March if he?
I just don't think. I don't see what Bazuni's done wrong though. He's playing equally as well. It's just
playing
more
at a lower level.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. He's sharper then, you could argue, and he's got in Kelleher with the injury. He probably would have played in the final anyway because that's the way they've done it in previous years. But
he's playing in the Premier League.
Yeah, but I mean, Klopp doesn't even know who the number one for Ireland is. So maybe he is getting a bit doddery in his age, and the pressures come to him that he's got to get out of the game, isn't he?
Oh yeah, because Eric Ten Hag is just as sharp as a stick. Yeah, well, actually, that's a question for the Roar faithful out there. Who do you think should be our number one goalkeeper? Who should be starting for the Republic of Ireland in March? 23rd against Belgium at home. I think the world number 2 team. And then against Switzerland at home as well 3 days later. Is it Bazunu or is it Kelleher? Let me know in the comments. We'll get back to that because Mark's just too bitter to admit it. Also, yeah, Adam Idah, 2 goals for Celtic. They were, I think it was 1-1, wasn't it, at Motherwell? And he popped up and he got a late... he got an equaliser and then he got a 94th minute winner. Well, there was another goal scored in 96th minute, but yeah. But he's doing really well up there, isn't he? Idah? Like Shane Rogers is doing too well, and he's in a bit of hot water over the weekend.
I mean, if I can come in first, sorry, Nick, I'm going to steal your thunder, but they were fucking brilliant goals, weren't they?
Yeah,
like the header and then it was clinical. Now I'll upset the Celtic fans now by saying, you know, I'd probably score goals up there, but you know, fair play. He's actually doing it. He's got 4 goals recently, isn't he?
Yeah, 4 and 4. He's 4 and 4. Two braces, and he's been good. Look, I've watched a couple of the games, and he's missed a couple of very good chances, but at the same time, like, he's taken those 2 ones very, very well. The header was unbelievable, and to score the second one under that kind of pressure, you know, and from that angle is very, very tight. But the funny one there, lads, is, you know I kind of alluded to it a few minutes ago, but the weird comments and criticisms of Celtic fans, not just towards Adam Idah, but Liam Scales. I mean, we posted something there last week on some stats of Scales. He's one of the best passing accuracies for a centre half in Europe at the moment, and all the comments, instead of kind of praising their player, getting behind their player, because he's probably their breakthrough player this season, they're all saying, well, all the passes are back to the goalkeeper. Like, he's an excellent player. Like, he's not a sexy player. He's not kind of a high profile player, but I don't really understand the whole. And if there's Celtic fans listening now or watching the show now, I'd love to hear you chime in. But it's just a weird mentality, and you see it from you do see it from certain quarters. Like, a lot of Irish Celtic fans in particular, they'll chime in and they'll kind of say, "These lads are playing well. What's your problem?" You know. But it just shows the unusual world of football Twitter. Especially with Celtic fans. Oh,
don't
jinx it.
Don't jinx it. If you want to see Nick's microphone breakdown, head over to the YouTube channel. It's there. Was it 2 lives ago? I think it is. Moving on to the national team and the wonderful search for a new manager, which has kind of gone cold actually a little bit. However, a new name has popped up. Gavin Cooney, not a friend of the pod. He has come up and he's written an article today and he shared it on Twitter. And actually, Nick, you shared it literally just before we went on. Apparently, Paul Clement is interested in succeeding Stephen Kenny as Ireland boss. Paul Clement, who has quite a hell of a CV on him, actually. He was Fulham Academy assistant, Fulham under 18, under 21s with the Republic of Ireland assistant, Chelsea 16 18 reserves assistant, Blackburn Rovers, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, Derby, Bayern Munich, Swansea. But recently he was the Everton assistant up until last year. So he's got quite a pedigree, just born down the road from me, where I am right now, Wandsworth, in London. But this one's come out of nowhere, Nick. But I don't think the FAI. We're not sure if the FAI have spoken to him. He just says he's interested, but he's an out-of-work manager, so why wouldn't he be interested in the Ireland job? To be fair.
And can I just blow my own trumpet very hard here and say that I named him as an outsider back in November when Stephen Kenny was sacked. And the only reason and actually when when Martin O'Neill was sacked, I actually said Paul Clement could be an outside bet. And the reason being he does have an affiliation with the FAI. And the reason I think I wouldn't have Paul Clement, first of all, it wouldn't be for me. I don't think he's been a very successful manager. He's been a successful coach, but not a successful manager. But the reason I think he could be in the running before inevitably being ruled out, like Neil Lennon and Jesus, what's his name? Coleman. What's his name? Jeez, Chris Coleman. Is because, first of all, he trained with the FAI as a coach. As far as I know, he did the same course as Carlo Codicini, and I think the two of them actually did kind of like a work experience with the Ireland under-21. So he's actually coached Ireland, albeit for a brief time. And the other thing I would say is the FAI are looking for a head coach, aren't they? They're not necessarily looking for a manager. They want a head coach. And Paul Clement kind of fits that profile as a head coach and fits that profile as someone who has come through the FAI pathway. So it's an endorsement for the FAI if they were to appoint him. Now, as I said, I wouldn't have him simply because he just hasn't proven anything as a number one. He's had, as a coach, he's been very good. He did struggle with Everton, but again, Frank Lampard was his boss, so we have to kind of bear that in mind. But I would not be surprised if he's been spoken to, lads, and he's mentioned his interests. Is he being sworn to silence? Has he been interviewed? I don't know, but I would honestly think a little bit like Holman, I would honestly think he's in the running because of some legitimate links there,
Yeah, no, it went out of left field. Also, Gavin Cooney mentioned, Martin, I'll throw this one to yourself, that apparently there is a sponsorship on horizon, but it won't be Revolut. I don't know who's going to be. He just says, but apparently it won't be Revolut. Maybe it will be Guinness, Martin. What do you reckon? You're trying to get Guinness as a sponsor, aren't you?
Well, judging, I've kind of been sponsoring Guinness myself over on Saturday, so maybe they will. They've had a surge. I'd love Guinness to be the sponsor, to be honest. I've often said that, just because I think it would look really cool having the little badge there, the harp on the.
Forget about the money, but
forget about the money, But again, well, credible sources, wasn't it? That's what we're questioning now. People's leaking these, stories and things like that, and Revolut,
we don't know yet.
Again, like I said, I hope before they went out in front of the Oireachtas that the deal was done. And I did see that in relation to this kind of story that there is an improved deal with Castore as part of the kit kind of thing.
Actually, we have an exclusive here, Martin. We have the contract signed by the FAI and Castore right here.
Yes.
There you go. There you have it. Jesus Christ. That ain't going away anytime soon, that redacted email. Christ. I mean, I don't really care who the sponsor is, as long as it's not on the shirts or you have an option to buy, one with the sponsor, one without the sponsor, and it's on all the training gear. No issue would have been on
the training gear, I'd say. I think that's what most associations do now, don't they? Because I think the jersey probably, I don't know if it's sold better without the sponsor, but it was a popular move. So I say if whatever training gear comes out, it could be on the sleeve or maybe on the front. That's what most associations do. That's what England do, Martin, isn't it? When you're buying your England gear.
Yeah. 3 lions on the shirt and all that.
Yeah. See, what we don't really, what we haven't realized yet is that Martin also does like an England podcast, and he presses a little button in his office, and everything in the back swings into England shirts like that. And again, it's just
kind of like a Bond layer or something. Yeah, Bond layer. It's like that.
And almost to get us replaced by Stella Artois, is it, or Amstel or some, I don't know, whatever you hooligans drink. But I mean, it's a weird time for the FAI. No sponsor, no money. No manager on the horizon, and
Barry. But there's been a bit of talk about Barry, isn't there? Because he's leaving Bayern Munich.
Now
We
that
might, Nick. Would you? Is he still with Portugal?
He is.
Nick,
Yeah.
you can give us exclusive there. As you must be chatting to your mates in
So
Portugal.
my other podcast, the Burgundy and Green Machine, we're not allowed to call that anymore. The Lisbon Roar. Yeah, no, he is, and I wouldn't rate Roberto Martinez whatsoever. So I actually think Anthony Barry has a huge amount to do with the kind of revival of Portuguese football. Because I mean, I suppose the World Cup showing was maybe papered over a few cracks of what was wrong with that national team, and the qualifiers there are very, very convincing. I mean, look, Martinez plays a nice, expansive style, but I honestly think Anthony Barry has massive influences over the teams that he coaches. I still don't know, as I said, like the whole head coach idea rather than a manager. I wouldn't just yet. I want Lee Carsley. I wouldn't have Barry. I think Barry's bread and butter is coaching.
But that's what they're looking for, though, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, but no, he's not the big. Yeah, but they want a figurehead, don't they? They want a figurehead of the association, or they might say a coach, but they need someone who's very media savvy, who's going to be the main person, able to conduct the pre-match, post-match interview, be able to bring sponsors in and do that corporate kind of gig as well. They need someone like the figurehead of the association who is also going to have a great knowledge of football and also fit in with their football coaching pathway.
The thing is, though, for me, like with the FEI, as we saw, they have no money. They're looking for £500,000 from the government. Seeing how last Thursday went, that won't be coming anytime soon. They'll be looking to get a Sports Direct catalogue from the Irish government. So they're going to need to take a punt on somebody. They're going to either need somebody who's desperate for a job, who fits in the category, and we've seen the likes of Coleman and Lennon, let's be honest, they're desperate for a job, or they're going to have to take a punt on somebody. Now, Carsley's the main man. That's the man you want. That's the man we all want. And I think a lot of our viewers out there want as well. However, he's still a punt to some degree. I want Carsley, don't get me wrong, but if they came up with Anthony Barry, I go, do you know what? Let's roll the dice on Anthony Barry. I would rather have Anthony Barry over a washed up manager.
I think... Yeah, the more I think about it, lads, and look, I know I haven't really been on the show lately and haven't really been able to chime into the whole managerial discussion, but I think we've a young, exciting team. But I also think we need a manager with enough experience to maximize that team, because it might have been Kevin Doyle said sometimes you have to be able to box clever against some of the bigger teams. Like that's where Stephen Kenny was very naive. Chris Hughton. Well, someone like Chris Hughton, Paul, who was on the show. I'm going to get. This is not from me. This is from Paul from Kick On, who was on the show last week. He said, Roy Hodgson, simply because he said, he has a lot. Paul's quote was, he has a lot in his arsenal, and this whole idea that like if we're playing a France, Stephen Kenny didn't have the savviness to shut up shop or to tighten things up, where, say Trapattoni, someone like that would have known how to maximize the most out of these limited squads. Now, I wouldn't have Hodgson. I would not have Hodgson, absolutely not. But,
he's 76.
Yeah, but we need... Yeah, he is.
He's similar kind of ilk.
He's finished.
That's what you want.
Yeah, he's finished.
Look,
Hodgson is finished, but the point is, I think we need someone who has, first of all, international experience. Second of all, experience with getting the most out of limited nations, and I don't know what third of all is. I was just kind of on one there, but we need someone who can box clever, and we can go for, like, even with Carsley. Like, Carsley is a very contemporary manager, but he's working with probably the best underage team in the world at the moment. The players he has at his disposal, in that Euros was outrageous. Like, it was 10 steps above everyone else. So we're not going to get the like for like football that we did that Carsley had with the under 21. So we need someone who's able to mix it up. We need someone who's able to box clever and say,
think Carsley would, though.
Yeah, look, yes, he has got that savviness, but has he got the experience as well? It's the more I think about it, lads, and I would not have Hodgson, but I know I keep beating the drum, but like Hervé Renard, he's got the experience at international level. He's got the experience with limited teams. He is very, very technically savvy. He mixes things up against the opposition that he's playing. Anyway, not going to happen, unfortunately.
No. Speaking actually of Stephen Kenny, and by the way, I love your comments coming in. Are you happy? Would you be happy with an interim manager? for the games in March, let us know. Also, anything you want to talk about, keep those comments coming in. See them coming in. I want to hear from you guys. We will get to those towards the back end of the show. Martin, I was actually on the last pod that we did. It came in that Stephen Kenny had an interview with
your mate,
with friend of the podcast, friend of mine, Dan McDonnell. I mean, basically broke his silence. I read it. You read it. I'll be honest. Didn't really think much of the interview. Not Dan McDonnell's fault, genuinely. He just found it was just a typical. You knew what you were going to get with Stephen Kenny. It wasn't going to be explosive, really, was it? It was going to be very polite, very gentlemanly as he is. What did you make of him, Martin?
I thought it was interesting that Dan kind of referred that he came prepared with like a little bit of the way I understood it. I don't know if you understood it as this, but that he kind of had a little dossier, papers and stuff like that with, showing this graphic that he's obviously done up with. I don't know, maybe the FAI media department helped him. Your friends in that, so it was showing though the capped players. And I posted that actually up on our Facebook page. Got a lot of interaction. People they would have been capped anyway. And just off on a tangent. Thanks everyone for your interaction on our different social profiles, I suppose. But yeah, it wasn't anything surprising that he did that. But what I did kind of, I liked the fact that he was quite honest, and I expected him to be. And he said how, I think he said it before the New Zealand game or the Holland game that he knew it was up and told it was quite emotional because
told the players,
you got to remember the players have been through a journey together. It hasn't worked out. They all kind of spoke glowingly of him as being a gentleman and very honest and probably kind of too emotional within the job, I suppose, in hindsight. But it's so important to us, obviously, football. But I also had a lot of sympathy for him. Explaining, the circumstances and how fortunate he was with his wife's accident.
Jesus, it was a lucky escape, wasn't it?
Fair play, and hope she is recovering well and the family's all good. But I think that's just our kind of Irishness passing on those sentiments. But as a manager, I kind of made the point as well. We wanted him to do well. I know we're repeating ourselves here, but we want him to do well. Nice to hear from him. Nice to hear that he's still got ambitions to be in the game. Still is relatively young. I don't know where he goes from now, but he's going to have he'll have learned an awful lot from the experience of managing Ireland, and I think I wish him all the best anyway.
No, I wish him all the best. I just didn't think it was a particularly interesting.
And to be fair to him, he had a lot. Like I saw him as in a way the figurehead of the FAI. He had great time for the fans and everything like that, and interaction with the fans. And some people at the FAI just seem very reluctant to have that engagement with fans, don't they, Dave? We won't name names. Let them just die on that. Let them just die on that hill.
I see what you've done there. Very clever. Right, we're going to move it on from the national team. What do you think, by the way, what Martin said there? What did you read the Stephen Kenny interview? What did you make of it? What did you make of Martin's not so hidden comment there, little jab? Tell us in the comments. We will get to those in a second. Right, we're going to move on to the League of Ireland. Very interesting now, and this has been a bit of a bugbear of mine for the last while. Excuse me, but the League of Ireland is back. It's in full swing. However, as well as the standard of football, the improving attendances, the League of Ireland is growing again, and it's fantastic to see. But however, one thing that seems to keep rearing its ugly head is the issue with the Flares. And both were playing St. Pat's in Inchicore at Richmond Park. And basically, this is what happened here. Here's a tweet here from Aidan Fitzmaurice. Series fine on the way for Bohemians. Game delayed as flares thrown onto the field. One flare from Bows End struck their own player, Cian Byrne, on the arm. He needed medical attention. I mean, it was always going to happen, but anyway. So that has resulted in, I believe, a one-game ban for Bows. Their fans are banned from their next away game. Here is a statement from the League of Ireland following the Electricity Men's Premier Division fixture between St. Pat's Athletic and Bows at Richmond Park on the 23rd of February 2024. which a Bohemian player was struck by Pyrotechnic. An independent disciplinary committee of the FAI has imposed a ban on Bohemian FC spectators from attending their next away fixture versus Drogheda United FC on the 4th of March 2024 at Weavis Park. And of course, they go on to remind everybody how stupid flares are and pyros, how dangerous they are. Both have accepted it. I'm not going to go into this statement. It's quite a wordy statement here from Bohemians. They're basically condemning the fans that do it, and they find it very frustrating because they're getting fined. I think they lost. They were in the cup final as well. They basically lost their prize money last year because they had to pay for the repairs, etc., etc., etc. The Bows fans weren't just protesting, they weren't just throwing flares at players, but also they had this protest against the FAI. Support SIP2 workers, pay them fairly, FAI. I think they had a few other ones as well. Nick, you are our Bows man on the pod. And this was bound to happen, wasn't it? Somebody was going to get injured. I mean, why in the name of God would you throw a flare? Now, I'd imagine the target wasn't their own player, but why are you throwing a flare on the pitch? It is a firearm, essentially.
Oh, it's all about the atmosphere, lads. It's all about the atmosphere. No pyro, no party. Yeah, it's no look. It's not a new phenomenon, but it's certainly something that keeps creeping in and into the league. I never really get it. I think I described it a while ago as cavemen discovering fire for the first time. There's some great Bows fans who would use pyro, some fantastic Bows fans, and then there's a section of Bows fans who I'd say couldn't name one player on the team. I was at the cup final in November. I'm supporting Bows since I was 7 or 8 or something like that, and I think there's nothing better than when you see new fans, and I've met a lot of new fans, and it's fantastic. But there is a kind of dynamic of, they think it's Mean Machine. They think it's Football Factory. They think it's something like that. They're not really there for the football. They're there for the divilment, let's say, and there's nothing wrong with a bit of divilment. But when it's resulting in, first of all, a player getting injured, and then when it's resulting in a club being fined with the fine they really can't afford to pay, that's where my issue is. There is a famous sign in Daily Mail Park that says, "Don't invade the pitch because we can't afford the fine." And as a Bows fan, like I'm all for atmosphere. I'm all for a new wave of fans, a new dynamic of fans. But what I'm not for is when the club it's a League of Ireland club. There isn't that much money, and money's being pissed away, and the same fans will be frustrated that we can't sign certain players. Be frustrated at different aspects that involve finances. And yet they're part of the problem. And as I said, like there's some really, really good people in Bows who would use pyro and who I've seen use pyro, and they're not bad people or they're not bad fans. But then there is another dynamic who I'd question their motives. I'd question if they even like football, or are they just there to kind of let off a bit of steam and shout the clouds. So it's frustrating. I know a lot of Bows fans are frustrated and they're pissed off, and they want those fans banned. But yeah, just from my point of view, lads, I remember seeing it and just thinking, come on, like, and overshadows a great result as well. It overshadows a really good result. Pats are a fantastic team, fantastic club, and to get a result against them is brilliant, because we are kind of stretched at the moment as a club, and we can't afford those fines. And
no,
and I don't know where it's going to stop. As I said, there's an entitlement there with a certain section of not just Bows fans, League of Ireland fans. We saw the terrible scenes, the fireworks going off in the Rovers match, and not half as much was done there, which is another.
It seems to be a league-wide problem, though. Like it's not just Bows. We're not just picking on Bows, but just that happens to be the story of the weekend. But I mean, this is always going to happen. I worked in football in England for a number of years. We've done training on flares. We've been shown all the grisly bits of flares hitting. A guy in Brazil got killed because a flare hit him in the face and exploded, killed him. People have been maimed. We had to see all these pictures and videos, by the way, as part of our training. And basically, the flare goes off. You can't even put it out. You just have to let it flame out. It has to burn itself out.
Even the fire brigade. See it with the fire brigade. But I
put them in
honestly think. I honestly think it's like a inferiority complex that we have as League of Ireland fans, and we feel, oh, we need to show the world that this is the greatest league in the world, and we're going to do that by having pyro. Like even in Lansdowne Road, lads, having pyro on Lansdowne Road is a fucking disaster because of the structure of Lansdowne Road. It's
anywhere.
Well, Lansdowne Road in particular, like at least with Daily Mail Park, it's not enclosed, so the smoke will disperse. But like in Lansdowne Road, it just kind of pools. So then you just have a smoky ground, and it actually looks shit. Like people say, oh, the pyro looks great and all this kind of thing. Yeah, but a smoky stadium looks absolutely shite. So it is like an inferiority complex. They're like, oh, we want to be like these German clubs and all these ultras, and then essentially it's unusual. And as I said, it's a certain wave of fans. They're not all bad people. They don't all mean bad, but it is a bit embarrassing. To be honest, it's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. And as I said, it is like cavemen discovering fire for the first time.
Yeah, no, I don't get it myself, to be honest with you. I don't need a sparkly thing to watch a game of football, to be perfect. But there you go. I think it's going to happen. It won't be the first. I doubt it'll be the first injury. I doubt it'll be the first ban. I mean, I do also appreciate the both fans protesting against the FAI, and but unfortunately, you're going to get one. Well, the FAI are going to fine us, but look at the state of them and all this kind of. But that doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right anyway. But we'll move it on from there. We're going to move it on to social media watch, lads, and prepare yourself. Hold yourself in. Wait for it. There you go. Nuri Nurik, eat your heart. He's still not happy, by the way. I read his comment there. By the way, guys, keep your comments coming in. We will get to the comments after this particular part of the program. So, Martin, this is your time to shine. Stirring the pot, I see, on Facebook. Well, here was your post anyway about Ferguson. Well, bit of context to this, isn't it? That De Zerbi has come out and said that Ferguson, he's not in a great space at the moment. His headspace isn't great, and he's struggling a little bit, and I don't think he scored for a while, and all of that. And you basically came out and said, "Reminder: he's 19. Let us know what you were doing when you were at that age." You a prize to the best comments.
Yeah, but can I just say, I've just noticed. Look at the time that I've sent.
Yeah, so you're indulging in your favorite sponsor, basically, Martin, weren't you?
I had a very indulgent day. Yep, very good. Splitting the G, which is I love that game actually. It encourages me to consume more and more Guinness though. I was stirring the pot, Dave. Very true, and yeah, some absolutely brilliant comments. Thank you for everybody's interaction. I love the fact that we have a lot of fellow appreciators of alcohol. We definitely appeal to a certain demographic. Lots of people seem to be saying, "Oh, I was mad on the gargle," or "I was fucking up my uni degree," or whatever they're up to. So we had a few people, a few people on the disco biscuits. I didn't really know what that was about. Too tame for that. I have enough trouble with drink, to be fair. But yeah, some really, really good comments, and some that we can't obviously repeat. But yeah, I did enjoy a few of them. Any, Nick, that stood out for you?
I think the disco biscuits for me. So
yeah, that was a good one. I'll read that one now. I had to leave Australia for a month due to eating too many disco biscuits and needed a month detox. However, I ended up in Dublin at Fallon's pub for a year, hanging with my uncle and learning that disco biscuits were 80% cheaper over here. After a year, my uncle had enough, and I returned to the land down under. I was 21, I think. A few people saying they were watching the World Cup. So at that age,
actually one person on it was actually in the World Cup. He got a bronze medal. Derek O'Connor was the goalkeeper for the Republic of Ireland in that under-20s World Cup. He's actually commented on there. Yeah. So there you go. You never know what you're going to
having 5 pints of Guinness for breakfast in Kensington and then playing soccer in Hyde Park with Shay Culligan, man after my own heart. I have actually found a fantastic pub. I'm going to give a shout out to it. Devonish in Piccadilly, Soho in London. Amazing pint of Guinness. I'd heard about it. I've actually sampled it. And I'm in London quite a bit, and now it's going to be a problem.
It's got me a problem. Just don't show up when we
No,
go for our next lunch. Don't show up pissed. I love this one. Gary Henley in Germany making scented candles.
Yep, seen that one as well. Very, very good. But yeah, look, a few people went off on a tangent, and well, look, I'm going to read this one. This is a bit mad. I got my bird pregnant and gave her crabs. Now I don't know if that's true, and I know that's not a safe one for our listeners.
Pregnant or crabs? Huh?
Yeah, but yeah, look, a few people took the opportunity to kind of say that we're getting carried away about Evan, and other people said, look, he's just having a bit of a dip, and give him time, and he is 19. And yeah, we need to remember that. So. Yeah, I did enjoy my post and seeing what was happening and the interaction I got from that, which was good.
And we had another one. It was basically because I'm not sure if you noticed, Nick, we were talking about Dennis Irwin being, I said he was world class. Martin said he wasn't world class. But Robbie Keane was world class. But anyway, I think you're on the old Guinness as well for that one, Martin. But there was this particular one here. I'm not going to read it. Well, I'll let you read it, actually, Martin. But on the Dennis Irwin post here from Richard Cronin. Go on, read it out for us.
Yeah, this is good. I have it here. Many years and moons ago, when he played for Wolves, my dad on occasion drove the team coach to games. On one such occasion, I went with him, and my dad was chatting to Dennis about when he met Jack Charlton when we were over in Kerry to see family, in which Dennis told him of a night out they had in the '94 World Cup. On a free night, some of the players wanted to go to some club or other, in which Jack had said no. Well, they went anyway, and on entering the hotel in the wee hours of the morning, the hotel manager said that Jack had ordered a wake-up call for the whole team that was due to be made quite soon. So they quickly got up there to their rooms and showered, only to be cooled down to go training. Well, one player who had a bit too much had an accident and slightly shat themselves. While not wanting for Jack to know the players... 1 minute now, sorry. Sorry, let me just a bit. 1 minute. One player... well, not wanting for Jack to know the player wanting Jack to know, the player whipped off his shorts and flung them out one of the sunroofs and the coach had, and quickly rummaged into his kit bag to find only a pair of socks, shin pads, and a sweater. Apparently, the player put a leg down each arm sleeve of the sweater, safety pinned the neck hole, and prayed Jack would not notice. Well, on reaching the training ground, Jack stood up and told the team training is off today. He just wanted to give the players a fright as he knew they had all been out the night before. There you go. Brilliant.
See, yet again, you never know what you're going to get on Lansdowne Road or Lansdowne Road on Facebook. One for me, I actually noticed. It was actually sent to me by a very good mate of mine, my mate Frank, about recently sacked Sunderland manager Michael Beale. Basically was fired just before the weekend, 12 games in charge. But basically, it turns out that there was a Twitter account called Player ID on Twitter, and when the Sunderland fans were basically slagging off Michael Beale over his 12 games, he was on there. Our Player ID was on there defending him. You know, the excellent Michael Beale. Well, Sunderland fans are you're just toxic. You're just poisonous. You know, what can this man do? And it turns out after a little bit of digging, they found that the Player ID Twitter account actually went back to Michael Beale himself, which I think is hilarious. Could you imagine Roy Keane on Twitter? Actually, no, he wouldn't need to do that if he was still Sunderland manager. He'd have you, Martin, wouldn't he? Anyway,
it's like another Irish football podcast.
Oh, controversial. Shots fired. Who are we talking about, by the way? I really don't know. Irish Football Blog? We give him a shout. We give Bill a shout. Although I think, yeah, and Connor as well, Republic of Ireland player tracker. Although, actually, not sure they're talking to each other if you read the old WhatsApp.
Yeah, it got very dark, actually.
It did get very dark in there. Definitely can't talk. Jesus. A bit scared with these lads.
Yeah, better not go there.
No, we won't. We're going to move it on to the comments here. Actually, coming to the end part of the show, the latter part of the show. Comments coming in, guys. Thank you so much. Keep them coming in. We will finish this bit when we get to the end of the comments. First one comes in from Me Mine on a YouTube channel. Not John O'Shea. This is on the interim manager. Absolutely no experience and strikes me as being too nice. What's the thing? If we do have an interim manager, we reckon it's going to be John O'Shea, don't we? It's going to be like the FEI coaching staff.
Well, they haven't ruled out Jim Crawford as well, which will probably
Do they have
Force
games?
me
It's
out
a
of the
bit
country.
strange though because they've got games around that time. I think a lot of people are very anti John O'Shea because they think he's tarred by being involved with Stephen Kenny. I wouldn't have that at all, to be honest. And
Here we go.
interestingly, I know, look, I have said about John O'Shea as well. You know that he's done his all these courses and things like that. Now, a bit of an exclusive. You might not know this. I don't think it's been well documented. A former Ireland player is actually doing a master's in football business and like directorship role, and could soon be quite influential in football.
Who is it?
World Cup appearances in 2 World Cups for Ireland, 94 and 2002.
Gary Kelly?
No. One of the 3 amigos.
Oh, Jason McAteer.
Jason McAteer. Yes.
Jesus. I saw that actually, yeah.
Yeah. He's recently just been on the Under the Kosh podcast. Very funny. Stories we've heard before, but mainly, but it's a 2-part, but it is actually quite good.
He has a habit of doing that, doesn't he?
Yeah. He hasn't slagged off Stephen Kenny in it so far or anyone else, but yeah.
Or Roy, yeah.
Yeah. He was still best mates with Phil Babb, though, he was saying.
Oh.
And actually, Jason McAteer, we will have to do an episode just chatting about Jason McAteer because he's quite a funny figure, I think, in Irish football and a bit of an enigma in a way, isn't he? A lot of people.
Yeah. Not half funny, but yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of people like he's quite divisive, isn't he? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't really mind him, to be honest with you. I mean, I always remember Roy Keane elbowing him in the head. I thought that was hilarious.
I'm putting it in the book and all that stuff. Yeah,
I'll always love him for scoring that 2 goals against Holland. Actually, the one in Amsterdam was mwah. Anyway, we're moving on. Nuri welcomes Nick back. Welcome back, Nick. Celtic fan. Dave McGuinness, how you doing, David? Great coverage this past few weeks, fellas. I've missed a few lives, but been watching. Very good coverage of the Manager Saga. Thank you very much, David McGuinness. So I've seen some of your comments there, picking me out. We'll get to those in a minute, but glad you're enjoying the content. And if you want to go back and have a look at all our episodes on the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. Go back through. The archive is there. If you haven't subscribed to us, why not? Subscribe to us. Subscribe right now. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe.
We are free. We are free.
We are free. Yes, we are free. Free. Subscribe.
We're on the ball, aren't we?
Well, we're not off it, that's for sure. Robert Duggan, I can't have the balls to go. I don't have the balls to go on, Nick. Nice chatting with you. Oh, good stuff. Good man, Robert.
Great to meet you again, Rob.
It's easy to, if I could do it, Rob, anyone can do it. Daniel Mullen on a YouTube channel. Who's favourite to be the interim manager for the 2 friendly games? I think we just answered that. It's going to be John O'Shea, I reckon. Two Johns, John O'Shea, Jim. No, sorry, John or Jim, not John Crawford. Jim Crawford. It'd be one of the 2, really, wouldn't it? Or it'd be Jim Crawford, maybe John O'Shea. Would you think they would sacrifice? When are the games for the under-21s, actually, chaps?
They're the following day, isn't it?
Do you think they would sacrifice the under-21s? I'd be stupid to sacrifice the under-21s because they're qualifiers.
I don't think you mess with it.
Don't think it'd be a big miss anyway.
Oh, shots fired.
Wow.
No, the 21s are playing away in Italy on the 22nd on the Friday, so that's just not going to happen. They can't be in Dublin for the Belgian game and away the night before. It's not going to happen.
Phil Collins did it for Live Aid, although he did have a Concorde, to be fair. London to Philadelphia.
Would you know, not? I think you have to have John O'Shea or some. You have to have someone who's experienced in the setup of Irish football. You can't just have like Coleman or
Mick
Lennon
McCarthy?
coming in as a thing. God,
would he do it for an interim?
I'd have Chris Hughton come in as interim in a sense.
They wouldn't do it for an interim though.
No.
You know, I know Mick was essentially an interim manager for a campaign.
Yeah.
Just didn't have interim in front of it. But
but we don't have Noel King. We don't have Don Gibbons kind of role anymore, do we? Who is that name? Who is that person?
Yeah, the under-21s manager, Jim Crawford.
Yeah,
they only did actually. Normally, the under-21s manager takes over. However, the issue with that is that now the under-21s calendar is so close to the senior calendar. You could do both games, I suppose. Our assistant could take the. Either way, it'd be Jim Crawford or John O'Shea, I reckon. That's there's no inside information there, by the way, Daniel. It is literally we're just guessing. No mention of Kelleher. I think you're fine, Daniel. We had plenty mention of Kelleher. Isn't that right, Martin?
We did, yeah. I think he was just
World-class
digging out. He
goalkeeper.
was digging out your the graphic where we had no mention of Kelleher because it was too big a thing to just have him on that. We had to make a bigger deal of it all.
Exactly. So there you go. World-class Kelleher. Tom Werner pointed him out for praise. Martin O'Neill even pointed him out for praise and actually said that I was listening to White and Jordan today. And Martin O'Neill was on it. God, he's... And he said that Seamus McDonough, his goalkeeping coach at the time, because he was with the team actually as a young lad, and he turned around and said that he will be world-class. So there you go. Darryl O'Connor, how you doing, Darryl? Interim manager O'Shea for the March friendlies is perfect for me. Only friendlies, and if it means getting the likes of Carsey or Barry, it's a no-brainer. Hopefully the permanent keeps O'Shea. Also the permanent manager keeps O'Shea. John O'Shea. Darryl O'Connor. PAC side, I don't get the criticism of the FAI recently with the search for a manager. What do people want us to rush it and end up with Lennon or Coleman? Making sure we get the right man. Don't get it. I agree with Darryl there. PAC was a complete clusterfuck, as we all know. If you want to know what that's about, head to the episode. Dave's reaction is a bit more in depth. It's on the YouTube channel there. Basically, I go through all the emails and stuff. That sounds very arrogant, actually, doesn't it? Watch my video. But it's just a bit more explanatory. But yeah, I have to say, lads, I think if it means they played a waiting game, but they get their man in the end, I think it's all worth it. Because do you reckon it's because Carsley perhaps it probably feels now, look, lads, you know, we're not too far away, but I don't want to leave the England job.
I think there's a benefactor in the pipeline, and that's what's holding everything up.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, but if that's there, you can get the deal done. Like I think Carsley's just pissed off with it getting so close to the March thing. Doesn't want to let England down. Probably wants to see what other shit's going to come out from the FBI. And you know, I think there'll be changes within the FBI anyway.
Yes, and I yet again, no inside information, but I think after that performance on Thursday, I think they'll be searching for a new CEO soon enough. Richard Joyce wouldn't be sold on an interim manager for the March friendlies. It was always to hope these were the matches. New manager was going to get a feel for who he has in his future starting 11. And then Richard continues, hope Roy Keane becomes the Ireland manager. Prefer him over all the other candidates. Well, Carsley for me, but if I had a toss-up between Roy Keane, Chris Coleman, or Neil Lennon, I would go for Roy Keane because at least be a bit of crack, to be fair. But I don't think it's going to be any of those. And I agree with Nick. I think there could be a benefactor or something coming down the line. Here we go now. Oh, Dave McGuinness having a go at me. 2 fucking games and Pool fans are wetting themselves. As soon as Alisson is fit, he'll be back on the bench. Bazzini has 14 clean sheets this season and is keeping Southampton in touch with pronouns. There's every chance he will be back on the Prem next season or back in the Prem next season. This is when we're asked who would you want in goal for the March games, Bazunu or Kelleher. G on YouTube says Bazunu. Danny Mullen says, I've always said Kelleher is the better keeper, especially distribution-wise over Bazunu. Richard Joyce opines, Kelleher hands down should be Ireland's first choice goalkeeper. Yeah, I agree. I think if he's playing regularly in the Premier League at a higher level, why not? You go for your informed guy. Ryan Kelly missed out massively in Conor Bradley for a right back, would carry the position for the next 10 plus years. Yeah, he was brilliant. One of the many youngsters playing for Liverpool, Conor Bradley, who we really should have got. Anne-Marie weighs back in on the Bazunu Kelleher argument. Kelleher, but any keeper is only as good as your defence, and our defence is shit. Fair. Fair enough, Anne-Marie. I love it. Just straight to the point. David Curley, Colin Buhig. Who's Colin Buhig? Am I missing something there? Described Carsley as only a slightly sexier Stephen Kenny recently. How about Jim Crawford? There you go, Nick. A pathway coach, maybe get better manager in 2026 when we're more attractive. Aim for the Euros. David Curley reckons Jim Crawford. No, Nick.
No comments.
Yeah. No, not for me either, Jim Crawford, David Curley, to be honest. The Irish Aviator, how you doing? Both are absolutely fantastic keepers, Bazunu and Kelleher. But if Kelleher is playing weekly come the March friendlies, he has to start. Good man. Irish Aviator are good. Good man or girl? I don't know. No, best not say good girl. I don't want to go down the Brendan Rodgers route. Jesus.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Newrick, well done on sorting out the jingles at long last. Now about the website. Oh, Jesus, he's never happy, is he? Dave, Tanya Mullen, Bradley is Northern Irish. Yes, he is. David McGuinness, David, he's warming the bench in the Prem. Please be accurate. He's getting a run of games because of an injury. Yes, he's getting a run of games in the Prem because of injury. It doesn't matter. If he's in goal for us playing at a higher level, come the March friendlies, I think he gets a run out. The problem with Queef and Kelleher is that when he has played for Ireland, he hasn't been playing at club level and he's looked rusty. That's why he's never impressed. So give the lad a chance. Cormac Murray, was Celtic the showbiz move Adam Idah's career needed? Apparently so, Cormac. What do you reckon, lads? Very quickly.
I think someone like Idah, he needs to, like, his game is probably a little bit more direct than a lot of other centre forwards. But I think in the SPL, he's going to get more opportunities. Like, he's playing in a Celtic team. They're probably struggling a little bit, but they're expansive. They create chances and they get chances, and their strikers get opportunities. So that's what he needs. I mean, at Norwich, he was played out wide. He was brought off the bench. He wasn't really getting consistency. At least with Celtic, it looks like he's going to get consistent game time.
Yeah,
and coming off the bench and scoring 2 goals is huge. So I think, probably a kickstarter. I'd have nothing against him staying there, to be honest. And if he's scoring goals, that confidence can be brought into the national team. Because I mean, how many Celtic players have gone on to play international football? Huge amount, and they cope just fine.
Absolutely. He also wants you to release a Celtic Fans mixtape, collaborate with Calvin Harris. There you go. Daryl O'Connor, delighted for Idah yesterday. Game was falling away from Celtic and scored a great header. Then a lovely tap in for his second. Glad he's proving the negatives wrong. Dave McGuinness, I'm in his sights. Creven Kelleher is a one-way ticket back to the bench once Allison is fit. Also, Poole will be Champions League next season, so he'll be fully reliant on a League Cup run next year for games. If you don't have his season... Oh, don't have one. Sorry, his season will be over pre-Christmas. You don't drop a keeper because the number 2-3 keeper gets a scattering of games, and he's never played particularly well for Ireland either. Yeah, but that's because he's never played for his club on a regular basis. But now he's getting regular form. Who knows? Daniel Mullen, Clement has worked under some of the greats of football as number 2. Didn't do so well at Swansea, though. Yes, Real Madrid. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, not Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG. Decent Paul Clement pedigree. Dal O'Connor, I'd love Aer Lingus as a sponsor. Colour scheme and Shamrock suits could offer us discounts away games and would look nice in tracksuit. Hopefully, whatever sponsor doesn't don the jersey anymore. I think Aer Lingus would be lovely. It's amazing, isn't it, when you have these companies that are massive, like Guinness, Ryanair, Paddy Powers, Aer Lingus. I mean, not one of them have ever sponsored the national team. I find that mental. Do you remember... probably before your time, Nick and Martin, you were too busy supporting England. But when Opel sponsored the team, everyone had a fucking Opel. Like, there
was that. Yeah, but I think that was
Vauxhall that's a Vauxhall, Martin. In case
we had to jump on it, didn't we? Like, everyone wanted to support the kind of. It felt as if you were supporting Irish football. The fact you had an Opel car,
and they had there was like my next door neighbours had a Cadet, an Opel Cadet, and it had the Germany. I always wonder why did it have the Germany flags? It was like an 88D, wasn't it? And it had the German colours going around. It was for Euro 88. Mental. Did you have a Vauxhall?
No.
Fair enough. Shoot that one down. Cormac Murray. Clement had a huge reputation from coaching with Ancelotti, but wasn't he a disaster as a manager? But wasn't. Yes, he was. Is Mick going to end up back in again, maybe in an interim role? We did ask that earlier on. He kind of technically was an interim manager for Ireland, albeit for like 2 years or 18 months. But I don't think he would. I don't think he'd go back for 2 games. Robert Duggan, agree with Martin that Guinness would be a great sponsor, but would they go with an alcohol sponsor? Are they even allowed? Guinness 0.0 maybe. That might be the scoreline over the next few games. Personally thought Revolut was an impressive sponsor if we got them. They can have an alcoholic sponsor.
They can have, yeah. You can have. It's if you don't want to upset people, but basically. And I'd have no problem with it. Like, it just seems mad that it's not. Like, it's the national drink.
Wouldn't bother me.
You know what I mean? It is though, isn't it? You just come in, and then I don't see the problem with it. It'll be very subtly done. You don't have to have it on the shirt, but you have it on your sponsors. It just has to be the harp. That's all it has to be, and everyone knows what it is. It's an iconic logo.
It wouldn't bother me as somebody who, I'll admit it.
Like rugby. I mean, they're all over the rugby, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it wouldn't be a problem. I had a massive drink problem. I've been drinking for 7 years. It wouldn't bother me having Guinness on the shirt. Yeah. There you go. Daryl O'Connor, Jameson signed a sponsorship with the EFL this season. Surely even them, as an Irish whiskey, could back the Irish team with sponsorship. I still think visually Aer Lingus for me. It's that's another sponsor, another massive global brand, Jameson. You see you see it in bars all around America, all around the world. Daryl O'Connor, again, and get rid of Castori as a wise Yankee viewer on his podcast, always says hashtag to Jesus, away to Jesus with Castori. Yeah, we don't have him on here this week so far. Well, I mean, we are on a different time slot. Daryl O'Connor, again, doesn't Carsley have 2 games with England on the 21st in March? Could that be a reason he's stalling? And yes, I take Barry in a heartbeat, if not Carsley. That'd also be a huge appointment. I agree there with you, Daryl. Cormac Murray, Rafa Benitez, back to Dennis O'Brien or Eddie Jordan to fund it. I think even we might need him to get in Lee Carsley at this rate. Richard Joyce, Barry, Jesus, no, don't want to see any part of the Kenny era ever near the team again. Oh, Martin, no John O'Shea for Richard, no Barry, nothing. No.
I think Barry left, didn't he? I wouldn't have a problem with him coming back, to be honest, if he was part of the backroom stuff. I think Dean Kiley's another one. And I think some of the guys have been kept on, haven't they? Some of the kind of fitness people and things like that. And they're recruiting a lot of other people within the kind of the setup in the background who are going to be able to float between like the under 21s and seniors and stuff. It makes perfect sense to have kind of doctors and physios working with both groups. They're recruiting for kit men as well. Coaching wise, a bit more higher profile, but no problem with John O'Shea being in there at all.
It's an interesting role that went up with the FAI. Actually, I think it was talent identification.
Yeah.
So it's along the lines of I think first of all identifying a broader player pool, so players based in the UK and further afield who qualify for Ireland, and also retaining players who are currently playing for Ireland who may be eligible for other countries. So that's an interesting role, and one that they're looking to fill at the moment. So you wonder, and funnily enough, Lee Carsley apparently was part of kind of player identification and retention in the FA. So there you go. It could be killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
It's interesting, all these recruitment things. You know, it was something I was at the Donegal thing recently in London, and Packy Bonner was saying, you know, that he saw that they were trying to appoint, you know, doctors, chiropractors, everything like that. And he said, you know, we had 1 doctor back in the day, but that's the way these modern associations are existing. A lot of the jobs as well, you have to publicly, especially when you're getting government funding, you have to be seen to be advertising it fairly to recruit people. And, you know, friend of the pod, former guest, David Roach, who's been a physio with the under 21s and under 15s. You know, I know that he's been in discussions with the FAI as well, because he's still doing a great job with the under 21s, of course, and 15s, as I said. But, you know, there's opportunities for people who have got their foot in the door there. So, you know, even for the kitman role, it's a big thing now.
Yep. Moving on. Daryl O'Connor, England under 21 then doesn't have a game until September of this year, which after March would give the English FA enough time to replace them. That's Carsley's thinking, keeping them sweet. I think it is, you know. I think Daryl and I, we have the same idea there. I think he's just trying not to burn his bridges in case this thing goes south with Ireland, and he'll have a job. He'll have a job back with the FA, no problem. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's an Irishman. Why wouldn't he want to manage Ireland? Do you know what I mean? It's not. You don't want to burn your bridges. It's not a nasty parting of the ways. It's this is the next pathway for you. Anyway, Irish Jedi, give the FAI stick when it's due, but once Carsley said no, it was a smart decision not to. It was a smart decision not to just appoint a Lennon Coleman, etc., to get the job done. I agree there.
I think that would cut. I just said one point on the Coleman thing, right? Is I think, you know, I didn't like all the stuff online, you know, with the Sun getting involved and Twitter and stuff. And maybe then he turned round. Maybe he turned round and said he didn't want the job. I don't think he was ever offered it, but maybe, Dave, that's just the way that the cookie crumbles. That's his nickname, isn't it?
Cookie, yeah.
Cookie.
Jesus Christ.
Wasted on this.
Yeah, well, by the sounds of it, you're wasted on bloody social media half the time. on your Guinness. Yeah, no, I don't think he was ever offered it. And the son involved himself, Martin, to be fair. Like, people didn't just think, I could be wrong. I don't imagine people went after, oh, you're that shit, we don't want you that. You know, he involved himself. He involved himself with an off-the-ball report. I can't remember the names. Soul Dub, Rebel, Soul Dub, one of those kind of nicknames. And, you know,
isn't what off the ball report? Did he?
Yeah.
Well, that's what Nick likes doing, annoying them.
But no, he involved himself. No, Chris Coleman wasn't his bollocks off for that job. Bollocks was he offered that job. That's a quote. You can quote me on that one. Bollocks was he offered that job, and he turned it down.
It would have been good if you got it though, because you would have had, like, we've got Republic of Ireland tracker, and then we would have had a Chris Coleman tracker. But then again, that's been done as well.
Coleman's kids, Cookie's kids,
yeah.
Cookies indiscretions. No.
Cool.
They're reading. Fucking, like,
we're gutter press.
Oh, we are absolutely. That's what you have to do to get this. By the way, hit that subscribe button if you want more of this, right? But basically, no, but it's true though. I mean, the Irish Mirror then came up with a thing on his personal life, didn't they? You know, the clouds were forming. Oh, Chris Coleman. You want Chris Coleman? All right, get the dirt on Chris Coleman, and they kind of went over. It's like what Dunphy did with Venables, may he rest in peace, where he came out and started reading all this. No, I'm not having this, and it worked. Anyway, we'll move on. Daryl O'Connor, give a Shea March games and appoint either Carsey or Barry with a Shea in the back room, and I'm a happy man. You're always happy, Darren. You're very, very high spirits. Can't wait to see you in March, by the way, pal. I hope you keep well. Irish Jedi, the FAI rolling out a 12-year pathway plan for the future of Irish football means they need to present a progressive young coach at the top of the tree. Bruce, Lennon, Big Sam, etc. would undermine all. Excellent point. Again, he is wise, the Irish Jedi. He does make a lot of great points. Dave McGuinness, yes, to an interim manager. It needs someone there, like before with Tom Gibbons and Noel King when they did it. You need someone to pick a squad and a team on the day and to simply lead, even if for both windows, rather that than a panic appointment. I think that's kind of the general consensus we're getting from you guys out there. Loving your comments and your feedback as always. Is that, you know, we don't want to panic here. Richard Joyce would love Antonio Conte, but in reality, I'd pick Roy Keane. Carsey clearly doesn't want it. The rest of them are either passive or clueless about it. We all love him. Actually, I don't even know if I want Antonio Conte. He's a bit of a head case, isn't he? At every club he goes to. David Bagley, I'm a Bows fan. Very embarrassing. We take the ban and move on. Those responsible should be given life bans. Absolutely. Alfie Connolly, any news on Lee Carsey, lads? Absolutely none. We reckon now we're not going to hear anything until if we hear nothing coming up to the window. In my opinion, it's A, to not distract from the window, and B, is to let Carsley get on with the job in March with his 221s games, and then he'll come back in. That's my opinion. Dave McGinnis, Dave, you look like a floating head, but it's a lovely floating head, David. I'm going for the svelte sort of. I'm trying to hide on my folds all black. That's what I'm trying to do. Dave McGuinness, yes, Nick. Event junkies, a disease throughout all sports at the moment. Ari, pyros, flares, etc. Running on the pitch. Those little signs. Give me your jersey, please. Do me a favour. Glenn Forbes had to get confirmation the FAI is still in the Delaney days. Pathway this generation's Genesis report. The FAI won't ever change, will it? I'd be all for looking at the possibility of creating a new organisation to govern Irish soccer. Glenn Forbes, what on earth do you mean? What are you talking about? If that isn't full transparency, I don't know what is. Yes, it will be a while before I stop breaking that one out. Dave McGuinness to Devonshire, not Devonish. If you want to run an event there, let me know. The owner is a mate of mine. There you go, Martin.
Yeah, I stand corrected on the name. Sorry, I had a few pints of Guinness at the place.
You sit corrected twice.
I sit corrected, yeah.
Glenn Forbes, the FAI should have had a succession plan for the likely eventuality of Kenny being fired. They had time. At this point, it's going for someone who wants it. Very true, Glenn. We do believe that they went for him in November when Kenny was still in the city, but knew he was basically going out the door. But apparently Carsley just didn't want it at the time. Something to do with staff.
I think the reason Kenny lasted so long was because there was no contingency. I think he should have been gone way before he did. You know, they no one lined up. They couldn't afford anyone. It was simple as that. Simple as that.
Fair enough. Well, Kenny out. Jim Crawford in. Kyle Houlihan. Good man, Kyle. We should be giving a pathway to her. No, not at all. We don't ban guys for having
blocking people
because he disagree with you. This isn't North Korea, Nick. You know what I mean? This is Lansdowne Roar. We need them. Although there are some accounts on there on Twitter that if you do disagree with them, they block you. Or individuals that may have burner accounts. We don't mean Michael Beale. Dave McGuinness. I'd be very surprised if it's not John O'Shea, and I'd be okay with that. Can't see Crawford banning under 21 games for interim gig, but can't rule it out. There is a certain dynamic, though, isn't there, with the under 21s and seniors, where Kenny sort of rated the under 21s to, I want them. And Andy Moran, for example, never played him, and he would have been captain against the Italians in the under 21s. But anyway, G on Jason McAteer. The chap couldn't open a credit union account. Good L trigger. Darrell O'Connor. Leave Crawford where he is and let our under 21s keep some consistency. Cormac Murray isn't a fan. McAteer comes across as a tosser. No, sign on that one. That's okay.
I'll come in on that one. I think that's a generational thing with McAteer, because I think he's tarred with being around that generation of the Spice Boys, the Liverpool, Redknapp and things like that, and they weren't very popular, like in comparison to kind of Beckham, Butt, Giggs, Scholes, kind of Neville. The Man United Liverpool rivalry at that time, they were seen as the party boys and out doing that, and then Man United were winning stuff. So I think that's where he gets a bit tarred with that, and probably celebrity went a little bit to his head with Ireland, because he was a very popular player with Ireland for his exploits, obviously getting us to the World Cup 2002. But very divisive, as I said.
Yeah, he actually did get to play in World Cup 2002, just saying. Ken Houlihan.
Wasn't even fit, though, was he?
No, he wasn't, but he still played. Ken Houlihan, under 21s playing San Marino, so could be Crawford, to be fair. That's an excellent point, Kyle. Cormac Murray, umpteen times. Noel King better not be let anywhere near an Irish team ever again. No, you leave Noel King alone, Cormac. The man, they have him in a plastic container, and they basically break it open when they need the man. Noel the King. The Noel King. Dave McGuinness. Bazuna is 22. The gradient of his upward graph will be clearly Queefing Kelleher by the time he's 25. Regrettably, Queefing Kelleher has squandered those formative years to warm a bench. Allison is 25. Is Allison 25?
No, he's about 30, 31.
I was thinking that. He's contracted until 2027. Queven Kelleher will be 28, 29 then. He has to move. Get first team ball and give me a reason to be wrong. I think, I can't send them going for alcohol. I can't see them going for an alcohol or gambling firm. And then on Stephen Kenny. Kenny had a backroom of 3,567 people. And the incoming manager of 5 to 6 people. So big saving, to be fair. I don't think that's quite true there, but I think any manager coming in will have a massive backroom staff. Cormac Murray, again, would you try to get the likes of Brian Kerr back involved in the FAR, or someone like Pat Fellon, a scouting type role? Keep eye on Irish League and link with a senior manager. To be honest, no. The thing is, though, I mean, I don't think they need anyone having an eye on the League of Ireland or anything like that, because the Premier League clubs do that themselves. It's quite easy, if you see a Premier League club or a Championship club or a Serie A or a League One club picking up a league player, I think that's kind of your job done. So you don't really need that. For me, Brian Kerr's too old. It's a lot of energy going to matches like 70, 71 years of age. I think his time wasted. That man was wasted. Dave McGuinness, good banter, Dave. As always, David. Always good banter. Newry Norwich, interim manager Stephen Kenny. Good point, Nick, says Dave McGuinness. Kenny was kept there as there was no alternative, nor could they afford to bullet him. And David Nicholson says, hi lads, just tuning in. Well, David, you have an hour and 20 minutes to sit through. I do sympathize with you, David, but do check out the rest of the episodes. And the last comment goes to Richard Joyce. McAteer's interim manager would be class. It would be definitely fun. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, lads, for coming on here. And yeah, as always, guys, our Roar faithful, your support is always loved and welcome. We should be back with a state of play towards the back end of the week. We're going to keep an eye on what's happening with the Irish manager. We should be back live Sunday, back to our usual time slot of 9:30, unless real life gets in the way. And of course, if Lee Carsley or whoever, we have more breaking news on the Irish manager job, we'll be back sooner. If they appoint a new manager, we'll be back live in some capacity. So keep tuned. It's where it's at. It's Lansdowne Roar. We are the voice of the fans. We are the podcast for grown-ups. We let you have your say. We let you have your opinion. We won't block it, although Nick wants to, but we won't block you. As always, hit that subscribe button. Scan that
We're
QR.
at the Claddering. We're at the Claddering this Friday, aren't we, Dave?
Yes. Thank you, Martin. We are at the Claddering that Friday. This Friday. I'm having a mare, lads. This Friday, we're at the Claddering, Martin and I, for the quiz. It's the just tell us a little bit about that, Martin, before we go.
Charity quiz night in memory of Tommy Feely, great Irish supporter over the many years, sadly missed. But
yes,
yeah, we do an annual quiz every year, obviously, and this year it's for North London Hospice. So yeah, a good fun quiz, general knowledge, be a good crack, a few dodgy questions going in there to test the knowledge. And yeah, all welcome to come along. 7 o'clock, I think it is, Claddering, and then obviously find out a bit more about Risk London if you want as well. A big year for the club, so lots of things
anniversary.
So if you are thinking of just getting involved with us and come along and meet Dave, myself, and Nuri Nurik will be there as well. I'm sure.
Nurik. Oh, is he a member?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I don't think we met. If you actually, by the way, Risk London are always looking for new members there. You don't have to live in London to be a member of Risk London. So risk.org, that's RISSC.org. It's a great fan club. We have all sorts of events, all sorts of things going on in North London. That's the Claddering, North London. It's the Northern Line to Hendon Town Central. I'm on the Northern Line, so it's actually quite handy these days. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. As always, guys, hit that subscribe button, scan that QR code, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'm David Dunn. That's Nick Menzies over there. That's Martin Prendergast down below. This is Lansdowne Roar, and this is Good Night. Good night, and God bless.